So Mark Burrows is a good friend of mine. He's on the Jake and Bell Kraus team, and was a military helicopter pilot, and then got out. And we'll find out more about Mark's background. But Mark has really been killing this business. And what's great about what Mark has been doing is that he's been working this thing alongside a helicopter piloting job, and he's been managing to kind of make it all work. So I think this is a really great opportunity for people to learn how to manage your schedule doing the income producing activities, and kind of juggling full-time job on the side. And he's managed to make it work. And what I love also about his story is that my videos have helped him on the sales side. And when I hear that from people, it's like, wow, that's cool. I know some people watch my videos, but I know Jake and Bell have been fans of the stuff I've been putting out there on the sales side. So, Mark's a great friend, and had a chance to catch up with him at the last conference. So anyway, I asked him to come on here because I want to drill down and let you guys get to know, a guy in our business that has really been in the alliance, and he's learned how to handle, the whole thing about quitting. And you think about quitting, and is this really for me? And like everyone goes through the ebb and flows. And when you look at top producers, they all have their story. Like everyone thinks that people like Megan Wood or any of the top producers, they've always been like that. They really have not, and that's one thing I think that everyone needs to realize. We're all on a journey, man. We're all on a journey. Our journeys is uniquely our own. But what is nice to know is that other people have their same struggles that you're struggling with. And they've managed to overcome it and continue on. And it doesn't mean that they won't encounter more struggles in the future. It just means that, people are learning to deal with it. And so I want to have Mark talk about his experiences and, from sales, how he got in. So let's just start with that first question, Mark. Tell us who you are, where you're at, who brought you in the business, and how did you come about finding out about the Alliance and joining us?
Yeah, let's say thanks so much for having me on. It's really an honor. I do appreciate it. It's awesome to be here, meet all you guys. But so I knew Jake Kraus because he and I flew together in the Army in combat. So when I say that I trusted him with my life, I truly have trusted him with my life. And Belle and my wife Nicole used to hang out while we were deployed, so we know Jake and Belle going way back. And he'd actually reached out to me maybe 2 years ago and said, "Hey, introduce the business." And I was doing some other stuff. Said, "Nah." And we just started talking last January, and he just brought it up again, and the time was different. It was right. So I said, "Yeah, I'll give it a try. I'll give it a shot." Got my license, got ready to go, did all that while I was doing my other job. And then some family stuff came up. My wife and I just, were starting to talk about divorce and some other things like that. Things were just falling apart at home. And so I said, I just can't do this now. It's not right for me right now. Family comes first. I got other things to worry about. And so I had already bought tickets to go. That was that weird year. Remember we had that spring summit because of COVID?
Yeah.
And so I'd already had tickets to that, but I wasn't going to go. I said, you know what? I'm not going to go because I just can't. Well, Jake had actually come to a hotspot here in Denver, flew all the way from Washington here, and Andy was here. And so I said, well, Jake came to this, so I should at least go to that. So I went to the hotspot and said, well, I already bought the tickets to Spring Summit. I might as well just go. I didn't want to go. I just went because Jake believed in me and Bill believed in me. But I'll tell you what a difference. If I hadn't gone to that conference, I would not be right here sitting in front of you today.
Wow.
It was powerful.
That's incredible, dude. It is amazing, isn't it? When you make that little decision to come, which actually in your mind was kind of a big decision, and then what you're able to experience when you get there, that's pretty incredible. So you joined us. When did you join us again? It was a year ago, or how long ago?
February. This coming February will be 2 years I've been here.
2 years. Okay, so 2 years.
Almost 2 years I've been here.
Yeah. And, don't we all go through, it's all about timing, I think. It's all about timing. And, um, uh, so that's cool. So when you came back from that conference and, you know, getting your life together back with your wife or whatever went on there, what happened after you got back when you got started? Did you just start jumping into it or?
No, it took a bit. I dabbled, but more importantly, the conference didn't teach me as really much about life insurance as it did about life. And so I learned the part I played in where I was and how I had some things I had to work on. And so I dabbled in life insurance while I really was focusing on getting my life back on track.
Oh man, that's awesome. I think one of the opportunities we have here that people don't think about, because it's not what you get in for. You get in to maybe find an alternative way to make money, supplement whatever you're doing, whatever the case is. And then you discover that while you're learning that, you're learning other great things. And that's just our culture, isn't it? That it helps you discover aspects about you that you need to change and to grow to move on to get to the next level. So talk about that. Like, what are the aspects of the Alliance that did you start getting into book reading? Did you start attending like the Zoom calls? Did you like take advantage of the other opportunities to learn and grow?
Pretty much everything, like any hotspot, like Stephen Davies. I mean, he was one of my first earliest like inspirations when he would come. So seeing him up here in Denver, tying in with Marcus Richardson, Marcus would just invite me up to his office and I would do dials and get one-on-one coaching with Marcus. And then of course, starting to read more and just tying in, like you said, to the Zooms and just reaching out to people, not doing this as a solo sport, and I guess jumping into the culture, the team culture and the family culture and just embracing that the Alliance offers.
Yeah. Now you're, like you said, flying through combat, and I've heard stories about what you guys have gone through flying in combat. Were you in Afghanistan?
I was in both two tours Iraq, 2 tours Afghanistan.
Okay, wow, man. So so those are like truly foxhole buddies there. Like draw analogies, like that same culture that you came out of, because you guys get real tight in the operational world in the military. I know from my classmates that flew fighter aircraft. There's kind of the whole operational world where they live in these huts and these plywood barracks and stuff. It's just something that draws them closer to you. Did you find that same sense or that feeling here at the Alliance?
I did. That's what I was saying, that first conference, like I just really didn't even want to go. And I went just for Jake, but I walked in the door really not in a great mood, just like not knowing what to expect. And there was like there's like laser tag going on. And remember they had all those games and stuff. And I was like, what on earth did I walk into here?
Yeah.
And I got shoved into a game. And I just remember going one-on-one with Brandon Manley down the hall, just shooting each other laser tag in the face. But I walked into like a group of people that like just immediately embraced me and just they were giving numbers, taking pictures together if you need anything. And it's that camaraderie and support I didn't realize at the time that I had missed when I left the Army, but I found it here.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think a lot of military veterans that come out of the field, come out of the military, they can't really find that. I think that's probably the piece that they miss a lot. And to find it in like an organization like ours says a lot about, our organization to kind of duplicate that kind of feeling. Because it is. I mean, I always say that sales is a lonely business. Like it's just you out there with the client. You're in your own head as you're driving from appointment to appointment, and you get like 3 no-shows in a row, and you're just trying to keep your head together. It's then all of a sudden, there's a bright light when you go in and help a family. I think that it's a great business for that kind of support when you need it. And so, well, that's cool. So what caused you to finally get into, like you dabbled? So when you went from dabbling to like getting into a regular production mode, tell us about that transition. Was it more just kind of learning what you didn't know and getting more comfortable with it, and then all of a sudden realizing, hey, I really can do this. Now I'm going to start ordering leads every week, and tell us about that transition.
Yeah, I think because it was kind of steady dabbling. So I would have production each month.
Oh,
So
okay.
wasn't fully committed, but I was doing something each month. So each month I probably submitted maybe 2,000, 3,000 AP.
Oh, that's
A
great.
little bit. So I
Yeah.
was doing it. But then towards fall, things had just started coming back together. Nicole and I, fixed everything up. And so things were just better at home. And then, I kind of self-analyzed where I want to be in 20 years. And I fly medevac helicopters now. And I was looking at some of my compadres that are doing this in their late 60s and early 70s,
Wow.
all just like dragging out to the helicopter, taking their teeth out, false teeth put on the dashboard. And just like,
Oh my gosh.
we do have one guy that did that. But I just didn't want to be that grumpy, disgruntled guy. And then I was reading one of the books, and I'm paraphrasing here, but it was something effective that hit me, that you will never live better in retirement than you're living right now.
Wow.
I mean, unless you don't do anything now and all your money goes to retirement, which as it is in us, we go camping a lot, but you just can't live better in retirement than you live right now. And with my job now, I didn't like what I looked at in retirement.
Wow. That is huge, dude. I mean, that is huge. I've heard it said, I learned this when I was in another business. They said that if you want to know where you're going to be 10 years from now, look at the people you're working with that have been there 10 years longer than you, or 20 years, and then ask yourself, do I want to have their life, their lifestyle? Do I want their divorces? Do I want the car they're driving? And that's sort of a wake-up call, isn't it? It sounds like that's something you did.
Oh, exactly. And Andy, you guys always say it, you were the culmination or the average of the 5 or 10 people you hang around most. And I just realized some of the things I was doing, and I just didn't like seeing that. And raising my 7 and 11-year-old boys, I just didn't like what I saw in the future for that.
Yeah. Man, that's awesome. That is really awesome. So you have a 7 and 11-year-old, huh? Oh, dude. Well, as a father whose all 5 kids are out of the house, and I'm sure you've heard this a million jillion times, but it goes by quick. Hold on tight. And well, that's awesome. Well, what's great about this business is you have the ability to support them and encourage them, but also give them an example of what it's like for someone to chase their goals and their dreams. And I think the example you set for your children is as important as, the time you spend with them. And so tell us about now you live in Colorado Springs, so that's a good hour and a half from Denver, depending on traffic. I mean, I was just there recently, right? Just a few months ago. And I remember driving from picking up a car. I call it Stapleton. It's not Stapleton anymore. That's how old I am, right? Denver, and then driving down to the Springs for my Air Force Academy reunion. And I'm like looking and going, man, I remember this is all desert, like, high plains, like there was nothing. Now it's like, seems like town after town after town. But so you've had to figure out how to get around the people, how to work this in your calendar. Tell us about what it takes to work your particular, like, what does your calendar look like? And what are the goals that you try to set for yourself with regard to setting appointments?
Yeah, so in my helicopter job now, I work week on, week off. So this is my off week, so I can devote a lot more time in my off week to this. In my on week, I work 3-day shifts and 4 night shifts. So I just learned during my day shifts, we just sit there on call for 12 hours. So I do a lot of the support stuff, the non-income producing activity time things while I'm at work anyway. So I kind of double dip, if you will. And then of course, if I get a flight, I got to go immediately. But
Yeah.
And then when I'm on nights, provided we haven't been flying our butts off all week, I can set appointments. I usually go door knock on Thursdays and Fridays, just because if I do fly all day or all night, I got to rest, I don't have to go door knock. But if I set an appointment, I got to go to that appointment.
Yeah.
So I usually try and use those days to door knock ones I have not been able to get a hold of through text, calls, whatever. And in my off week, I just schedule, as many appointments as I can in my off week.
So what are
Try to
your,
preserve Sundays. I try to preserve that for family.
yeah,
Try to save Saturdays for people who work during the week, set appointments. People
yeah,
can't meet, and then Sundays for us.
that's great. So what is your, do you like dial on one day and then run your appointments on another day?
On my off week, I try to dial like on Mondays, and then the typical Monday, Thursday thing. But with my schedule, I just do it when I can. If I got
Yeah,
free space, I just dial or
yeah,
text. I mean, do something. And what I've learned for me, it is really hard for me to start and stop, start and stop. So if I'm just doing something, inching that ball down the field, it's better for me to keep that activity going in some way, shape, or form.
yeah. So I totally get it, dude. It's that mentality of so what Mark alludes to, income producing activities are things that are making you money. And it's either, for us, it's either on the phone dialing, booking an appointment, or it's running an appointment. And I remember, so back when I was, okay, I sound like the old guy again, sorry about that. But back in the old days, they said that if you just write one app a week, one app a day, just one app a day, man, your life will change. And so that's kind of what I did. Okay, well, how can I write one app a day? Well, I got to book at least 3 appointments because I'll book 3, I'll sit on 2, and I'll close 1. And so if I book 3 appointments every day, chances are I'll be able to write an app a day just on average. So that was kind of old school. So what I was doing like you. It's like either I'm on the phone booking appointments or I'm going running an appointment. And then when I get a no-show, I pull out my leads and I'm booking another appointment in their driveway in my car, for when they show up or if they show up. And then I'm just like kicking the can down the road. I think Karen Musil, one of our top agents, she said that she never wanted to not have an appointment already booked. In other words, she always made sure that there was an appointment in the future. Like she never ran out of appointments because she was always booking one, and there's always one to go to. So I totally get that schedule, man. I was all about that. So what are you, as far as your leads, the type of leads you're running, what type of leads are you running to create the activity?
Just primarily direct mailers,
Okay.
A1s. We have plenty of A1s around here and DLPs, the discount leads that haven't been sold. They pop in every once in a while. So Colorado, if you look at the maps, pretty green like Texas and Florida.
Yeah.
Primarily those. But I have messed with the internet leads, integrity internet leads. I've messed with those too.
Yeah. So what Mark's talking about, the A1 leads are leads that another agent has purchased as an A lead, and then they're sold again after about 6 weeks or so to another agent and it's not been sold as far as what the alliance has recorded. And then Mark gets those at half the price of what, they're sold at as an A lead, and then just gets a bunch of those and whatever. So you really like the direct mail.
Yeah, and I have a GMR set up, so they just come right in. And I have a DLP GMR, so any of the discount leads that haven't been sold at all or trickle through, they just come direct to me from both A and A1s.
That's cool. Now, are you getting final expense and mortgage protection, both, any type of life lead?
I primarily do final expense because they're mostly older people and they're home when I need them to be. With my schedule, daytime's the best running for me.
Yeah,
Nights get a little weird with my schedule, so I've had the best luck with final expense just with timing.
that's great, man. Back in the day, we had, mortgage protection and final expense. And that's true about final expense that we discovered is that, they're home during the daytime. You can really run a lot of those type of appointments. And my opinion, they're actually very simple to run. They're very, you don't have to go into any elaborate type of sales strategies like you might have to on mortgage protection. They're just very simple and basic.
And
Wow, that's cool.
since the introduction of the quoting tool, the final expense quoting tool,
Yeah.
I mean, that has taken the biggest argument with final expense was they were super unhealthy. It was really hard to find a product. I mean, that quoting tool's taken that completely off the table. I mean, it's so easy now.
Man, that's rocking. I love that. So what's your GMR for? Like how many GMR leads and DLPs do you order every month?
I get 30 A1s a week. 30 A1s a week, and I've been pretty successful getting those A1s. There's just enough around here floating around, And then I have it set up for 10 of the DLPs in each category, but really it only trickles in like 1 or 2 or 3 here and there. I just went to 10 just so I make sure I capture all of them to come through.
Man, that's great. I think that's the key, isn't it? To have a consistent level of leads so that you always have somebody to call, and you're doing it every week. So that means on your off week, you've got really kind of double that, right? That you can dial in essence.
Yeah, my wife, she went to Reno where we last saw you. And she came home, and she was always very supportive of this, but she came home, and on the way home on the plane, she's like, how do I sign up? She's doing it now too. She's licensed. And so she works the leads with me. So when they come in, if I don't have time for them, we split them up, or I've worked them a bit and I can't get any traction, I'll pass them to her. And like single little old ladies love her. Like I can't get through to them. She's booking appointments right and left, right behind me.
I love it. Oh, dude. Now, that is just fascinating to me because you talked about, trying to get your marriage back together. All of a sudden, she's like on board as an agent. I mean, she must have just really something had probably got inside her from coming to these functions that flipped her switch. Like, what was it about it?
I don't know. I mean, she's a special ed teacher by trade.
Oh, wow.
She left the education. She left that to stay at home with the boys. And I think she's always had like a servant's heart. And she wasn't going to go back to the education system. And this, I think, just resonated with her on how she can help people a different way. Of course, Belle and her are really close friends, and she sees Belle out there rocking it and other ladies in our industry here in the Alliance. And she's just like, hey, I can do this too.
Oh, man, I love that. That is a great story, dude. That just really warms my heart. You have no idea. That's so cool. And so she does what you are unable to do. And what I love about this is that on 30 A1s and DLPs, those are discounted lead programs, gang, so that the Alliance recycles leads that are not sold. And then some of these leads just age out into the next category, but has never been sold to another agent. And those are really big. Those become just age date leads. The one thing that we've learned, right, Mark, there's something magic about direct mail leads that the people actually put pen to paper and sent them in. That's different than internet social media leads, right?
Yeah, and they can't, especially you go door knock. I've had people say they haven't done it. And then I switch into a different mode. I was like, this isn't your handwriting. Well, in this day and age with scammers and stuff, I was like, well, mail fraud is a federal offense, and by state law, I'm required to report this stuff. So we need to get to the bottom of this. Whoa, let me see that real quick. So they
I love it. Oh, that's really effective.
Maybe I did put that in there. So I just start messing with them. If they're going to lie to me, I'm just going to mess with them.
Yeah.
Subliminally make sure they know that I know they're lying.
Yeah. So like when you're door knocking, out of how many door knocks do you get into the home? If you ballparked it, top of the head.
I would say out of 10, getting right in the home, maybe like 2 right then.
Yeah.
But then out of the rest of those 8, I probably at least book BAM or book them for another time 5.
Wow.
Probably 6 or 6-ish, a little over half, I think.
Wow. Well, you and I know where that comes from, right? People just don't like to pick up their phone if they don't recognize the number.
Right.
Yeah. So it becomes valuable. So if you had to estimate out of, say, the 30 leads every week, how many appointments do you think you book and how many do you close if you had to just kind of thumbnail it?
It's interesting because I had an A-lead GMR, the brand new ones,
yeah,
which are a bit more price expensive. And I was getting 5 of those a week. That's about $240. But I found that I was having great success with the A-leads. The A1s, the next step down, running behind some other people. So I was like, why am I wasting my money on the brand new leads? I'll just go with the A1s. So I just recently upped it to 30 because it was 20. So I'll just go back to the 20. I would say out of the 20, I was doing pretty good. I'd say book about half, maybe not quite, about half, maybe not quite half. And then I'd say right on about half of that.
Yeah.
Maybe a quarter.
Yeah, that's about those are about the numbers. Actually, I'm pretty impressed with that ratio just on A1 leads. You
But
know,
I mean, that's doing the whole gambit. And if you guys haven't seen Eric Belair's How to Maximize Your Leads about a month ago, I would highly recommend you watch that, because he gave us 30 minutes one-on-one, Nicole and I, about a week ago. Bill made the introduction on the phone, just coaching us on how to maximize our leads. So, I mean, we're talking texting, calling, sending letters, door knocks. I mean, so the more effort you're going to put into your lead, the more you're going to get out of it.
yeah, that's awesome. I've heard some groups are starting to do a lot of texting to get the client to book an appointment, and they've been very successful with it. So, for example, what does a text look like for you that to get someone to respond?
So first we'll call, just a typical, I'll call them first.
Right.
Just do that. And then, after a few times, leave a message, but I'll also text, and it's just a picture of the lead. I just say, hey, my name is Mark. I'm the local field underwriter for El Paso County. I've been assigned to answer your questions, and, in response to your request, please call or text me back so we can schedule a time to go over this together, get your questions answered, something like that. Nothing crazy. Then sometimes when they come back, they're like, what's this about? Then I'll just call them, and I know they're there.
Yeah.
Or I might send a copy of my license. It really just depends on the flow of how they come back. What I found also, when I call people and book an appointment, I ask them, can you receive text on this number? Sometimes it's a landline. Do you have a cell phone number I can send you some stuff? Sure. So I'm calling and booking the appointment, and as part of the lockdown or the tie down, I will actually text them a copy of my license, a copy of the lead, and my picture. And I say, please respond with Y or yes, and make them interact via text. It's just another tie down, and I find that my show rate has increased by making them interact after we've already booked the appointment.
Oh, I love that, dude. That rocks. So what is your show rate then?
I would say a lot better than it used to be. I'd say probably about 75%, 80%.
Oh, that's rocking. That's strong.
Since I started doing these other things. I mean, much better tie-down questions, getting them to visualize you driving there. The typical stuff before, I've just been adding on a follow-up text right after to get them to respond with yes or Y or whatever, that they got it. And I'll tell them on the phone, I'm going to send you the stuff. Could you please reply? Just let me know you got it.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, sure. And I do it immediately.
Oh, dude.
And I've had them text me back like that morning of the appointment.
Yeah.
Hey, are we still on for today, Mark? I know they're going to be there then.
Oh, dude, that rocks. That totally rocks. Well, you know what? Might as well use technology. I love that part about how you establish with them if that's a textable line, because there are a lot of older people that still have that security of a landline. They also have their flip phone or their cell phone or whatever, their smartphone. And then you send them all that confirmation information. Dude, that rocks. That just made a bunch of people on this call money right there. Good stuff. So tell me about how you got better at sales. Like, obviously you're willing to reach out to people to learn how to get better. Like, you reached out to Eric Belair, and he spent 30 minutes of his time coaching you on that. And by the way, his video on that rocks. I mean, I encourage everyone to look that up on NAA-TV, Eric Belair, on how to maximize leads. And I think I've sent that link out on our email blast. But tell us about how you got better and like, what are the types of things that you did to become better in sales? And have there been any like key things that you discovered that were like real instrumental in you helping take care of clients?
Yeah, so like last fall, I would say November, I'd say August, I really started ramping it up. And so I had a really good end of the year in January and February of this year. And then it just fell apart. I mean, I just went off the wagon hard. I couldn't close anything. It was bad. I don't even know what happened.
Wow.
And so I really just talking to Jake and Bell, and I just really had to like step back and go right back to the square roots beginning. Just forget everything I thought I knew and start over. And, you know, I stumbled on your videos and one led to another, and the Stephen Davies stuff, and just really started to read more and focus on the in-home stuff and what I was missing. Bond rapport isn't really my problem.
Right.
And I found that I wasn't developing the pain at all, like one layer deep. And I didn't even realize what an upfront contract was until I started watching your stuff.
Yeah.
And talking to Jake, and we went through a mock appointment. He's like, "Oh, you're not even doing an upfront contract." I was like, "What the heck is that?"
Oh yeah, you
So
just
yeah,
closed,
and
yeah,
but
you just closed. What? How much did you close last? When you told me about the upfront contract, you closed one for how much? I think it was.
well, just yesterday. I mean, because I always listen to something on the way to my appointments, and just have like the videos, and I just happened to pick one of yours on upfront contract because I haven't really refreshed my memory on that in a while, and I just picked, you know, upfront contract. It was fresh in my mind, and I had 2 appointments yesterday, closed in both places, and then wrote 2 in one home. So I just constantly have something feeding in, you know, and if it's not that, it's developing the pain. I know the areas I need to work on a little bit.
Yeah.
On a report is not a problem. For me, I have to keep it short because I could talk
Yes.
for hours.
Me too.
So that's not the problem for me. So I know my areas I need to keep sharp on, and I just constantly have things I listen to.
Man, dude, that is
And
because there's a lot of agents that just listen to ESPN radio or Fox News or whatever. You know, they're listening on the way to their appointment, and it's like there's so much value that, you know, 20, 30-minute drive that you can get from all these things you're listening to. So it sounds like you're really immersing yourself in all these audios and things that can help improve you. And
yeah, like you would suggest, and like I read this book, Asking Questions, that was probably the biggest game changer, is that I need to shut up and stop telling them and start asking them.
oh my gosh.
And then how you ask them is also crucial. What you say, what you ask, when you ask it, how you ask it. So that was instrumental. And I'm reading this one right now, another great book.
Yeah, Sandler.
And this is great too. So thanks for those recommendations. They've been super helpful.
Well, you know what, dude? It's, you know, it's better you saying that than me telling my agents because, you know, I make those recommendations all the time. But just apart from that, you're like a master of trying to improve, just get better, better, and better, and improving your numbers, improving your results. And I think that's really the key, going to conferences and doing all these things that have made you, you know, better person, a better salesperson, a better servant to the clients that you're trying to help out. And dude, that's huge. I mean, I didn't know this about you, but now I'm like discovering this is why this guy rocks, you know. So what other things do you have to share that, like, for a brand new person getting started, you know, we got a bunch of new agents on here, you know, what would you recommend, and what, like, some of the stuff that you fell into that you know, would like help head them off at the pass, so to speak? Now, everyone really does have to fail, don't they? They have to like struggle and fail in order to become better and grow. But what would you recommend to new agents getting started?
I'd say what has kept me going is being tied into team calls, the TWC, just that staying tied into the system is going to keep you, because the thing I like about the Alliance in here is your mommy and daddy can't get you into a position here. Every single one of us had to pass that stupid test.
Yes.
Every single one of us has had to do the exact same rite of passage. There ain't nobody here that took shortcuts. So stay tied in and just like ask for help. Like, there's too many agents that try to be a secret agent, do it on their own. This is a team sport. Ask for help. An upline, somebody like you. I've been blessed to get your help. Stephen Davies, I've texted him, and people will help you if you just ask.
Yeah, it is amazing, isn't it? The secret agent. That's so cool.
But then it's also, I mean, you have to take some ownership. So like, you have to read, you got to study. I mean, you got to set your ATM up, and you really have to understand. That's another thing that, you know, understand in the sales submarine. I didn't understand the ATM, and each section has a specific purpose. I was just kind of running through it. Once you understand understand the system, you're going to be so much better because you're like, oh, I get that slide now. What happens next?
Oh my gosh, dude. You're a man after my own heart, man. I've been trying to preach that gospel, and especially when the ATM first came out, there was like no context. Of course, I had a lot to do with putting that together, so that's why it lends itself to the submarine. But it gets lost in translation, sometimes. Wow, dude, that's good stuff. So, what do you do when you just feel like the lowest of the low, like nothing worked out? Like, what is your first move when you feel like that?
I call Belle. Or
Hey, man.
Jake, but usually Belle, because she's out running or something. I mean, Jake runs a little bit, but he mostly recruits and stuff. But yeah, I usually call Belle and just whine to her.
Well, I love that. And Belle will let you kind of unload, and then she'll encourage you because she has that's when her accent really comes out. Her is it West Virginia or something like that?
Tennessee, I think. But yeah, you're close. Yeah.
Anyway, that's when that really comes out. She's just, a loving person, but she's also tough. She knows what you're going through. That's my go-to, man. When I'm feeling like crap, I'll give Andy a call. He always changes the subject. Like, I'm no longer thinking about myself. He just automatically moves me to thinking about agents, to thinking about clients, thinking about, like, he doesn't let me wallow. That's one thing I appreciate about him. He doesn't let me wallow in it. He'll just move me, shift me to another mindset. He's just the master at doing that. So those are very wise words for anybody on this call. When you're feeling low and the worst thing you can do is crawl in a shell. You just have to call, like, get on the phone, call your upline growing manager, or call me, whatever you need. And we'll help you. We'll help you. Well, dude, you've been, kind of really a joy to watch grow. And for as short as you've been in the Alliance, honestly, a couple of years is, my opinion, just a real short time. You've progressed so far in terms of mindset, attitude. And I think that's where the foundation of creating a huge business and creating a strong sales career begins, is mindset, attitude. And so you've been building this strong foundation. The foundation takes all the time to put together, but then when you build the house on top of it, it goes up like that. And I think that's kind of what you're starting to see right now. So last question for you. National conference is coming up. The ticket prices, whatever the ticket price is, down in Dallas, Texas. How would you encourage people, especially brand new people, why it's in their best interest to go to an event like that?
Whew. It's like I'd say in that first conference, like everyone I go to, I mean, I learned something about this, but something about life and just the people you meet. Like, I wouldn't have all these resources had I not gone to conference and shaken someone's hand, and taken a picture with them. Like, that's where you really get it. Like the carrier, the reps, like Bruce Barack of Foresters. I mean, he's on speed dial. We talk all the time. Any problems I have with Foresters, he's on it. Pete Mejia. I mean, they're a lot more fun. I shouldn't say more fun, but there's a lot of fun now put into them since Mark Assett has kind of changed it a bit. So we're bringing the boys to this next one. We're going to find a local, like care.com or a babysitter to watch them in the hotel. Yeah. And one thing one of the things that hit me the most, what I liked about the Alliance, is it was my second conference. I realized that of the people that have been here a bit and been successful, I would have no problem leaving my kids with them for a week. And I know that when I picked them up, they would have been better off for it. That's just the caliber of people that we have in the Alliance. Bad attitudes don't stick around. They self-eliminate. It's just positivity, and all the politics stays out the door, and just the energy in these conferences and what you'll walk away with as much as you will allow yourself to. It's hard to describe until you go to your first one.
I know. You can't. I wish I could stick an internet cable from my head to their head, but it just, you hear it all the time. Like, gosh, you just have to go, because I can't describe how great it is. These are the results it has given me, but that's all you can say. But
it would be like what was Disneyland like? I mean, I can try and describe Disneyland or Disney World, but until you go and watch your kids' eyes light up and watch their joy, you can't, you have to experience it.
Right. Absolutely. I always say this, man, like, if I told you that there was a $10,000 check for you and it's under one of those seats in Dallas, the middle of January, what would you do to go there to get that check? And if you can justify flying down to pick up a check for 10 grand, literally that should be the same motivation of coming out and getting to our national conference. That same, because you will get more than that. You literally will get more than that, because the stuff you will learn there and the experience and the feeling you will turn into money. And it's going to be money more than just money. It's going to be a life that's changed, that will impact your children, impact your long-term. Anyway, dude,
I found every single seat has a $10,000 check under it in this business. Every seat has that $10,000 check. You show up, writing $10,000 coming out of conference, submitting it is not that hard because you're fired up.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And I promise you, like, people will tell me stuff like, well, you know what I'll do? I'm just going to focus on making sales so that, so that you'll make your override on me or something like that. I go, dude, I don't care about my override. I care about that you're going to make money, and you're going to make more money by coming than thinking you're going to stay for those 3 days, thinking about getting on the phone and then deciding you're too scared. It's like, man, get there. So, Mark.
Yeah, bring somebody, because
bring somebody.
I brought Amanda. She's one of the people I recruited out in Virginia. She came down to Breakthrough, and she has had a complete life shift since. Some other helicopter pals of mine, they came. He's writing 8 apps in one home today.
Wow.
8 apps in one home.
Oh, that rocks, dude.
Crazy. So, I mean, you bring people, because if it changed my life, I'm silly to think it won't change somebody else's.
That's right. That's awesome. Well, dude, you rock, man. Have fun. Tell Andy I said hi. You're going up to Denver to get association, and which I'm not surprised. And anyway,
it's
Mark,
crazy. I'll have Nick Greco, Marcus Richardson, like some top people. And last time Andy came, I got invited to go out to dinner, and I got Brandon Manley, Nick Greco. I've got like some of the biggest names we've got right there in front of me to pick their brains. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for having me, Alex.
Yeah,
I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. You really have blessed everyone on this call with your story and with your encouragement. And dude, I just enjoy watching the ride, watching you, take this to the top, man. So God bless, man. Take care.
God bless you guys. Hey, thanks. Have a good day. Bye.